Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share something deeply personal with you, a moment that really stopped me in my tracks and made me reflect on so much. It all started innocently enough while I was doing a bit of spring cleaning, or maybe more like decades of accumulation cleaning, in the back of my closet. You know how it goes. You're just pulling things out, deciding what to keep, what to let go of, and then, there it was. My hands brushed against something, a dark blue winter coat, and as I pulled it out, a faint, almost ghost-like smell of smoke wafted up, instantly transporting me back in time. It was his, my husband's coat, the last thing he ever wore before he walked out the door and never came back. I've opened that closet 1,000 times over the years, probably more. It's seen countless seasons, different fashions, new memories made around it. But somehow, this time, my hands just stopped on that coat. It felt like it had been waiting for me, hiding behind years of dust, forgotten clothes, and changing seasons. I pulled it down, and for a moment, it felt heavier than it should have. Maybe it wasn't just the fabric, but all the unspoken words, the broken promises, the endless nights I spent staring at the ceiling, wondering where he went, why he never called. And whether I was supposed to hate him, or miss him, or some confusing, heartbreaking combination of both. I pressed my face against the fabric, and that familiar smell of smoke wrapped around me like a memory, burning slow and quiet. It was like he was there, just for a second. 17 years. Can you believe it? 17 years since that ordinary day. I remember it so clearly. The sky was gray, the coffee was cold. Just another Tuesday morning. I remember asking him if he'd be back for dinner. And he said, sure, with that easy smile he had, the one that used to melt me. And I believed him, because love, doesn't it just make fools of us all? The door closed, and the sound echoed through the house, a finality I didn't recognize at the time. And I stood there, waiting for footsteps that never returned. At first, I thought, okay, maybe he just went for a drive. He always said the world felt smaller when the walls closed in. He needed air, I told myself. Just a moment to breathe. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and every ring of the phone turned into a frantic burst of hope, only for every silence to feel like a cruel punishment. I went to the police, filed a report, pinned up missing posters that no one ever answered. And still, at night, I would imagine him walking back through that door, saying, I just needed air, honey, like nothing had happened. Like time could rewind if I just stayed still enough, if I wished hard enough. People told me to move on, to donate his things, to start fresh. And logically, I knew they meant well. But grief, it doesn't work like that, does it? It clings quietly, like dust in corners you forget to sweep. It seeps into photographs and coffee cups, into the way you fold laundry and lock the doors at night. It becomes a part of you, whether you want it to or not. I kept the coat. I kept it because it felt like the last tangible piece of proof that he had been real, that we had been real, that once upon a time, but with the quiet fall of snow, the world around me changed so much. The neighborhood grew louder, new families moved in. And the kids next door, they'd call me Miss Leela and always ask if I lived alone. I'd smile and say yes, but inside, I always thought, no, because a part of him, a part of us, was still here, trapped in the scent of smoke, in the hollow side of the bed, in that old coat, just waiting. I even tried dating once. It lasted 3 months. He was kind, he brought flowers. He was a genuinely good person. But every time he leaned in, I'd see my husband's shadow behind him. Not the man who left, but the man I married. The one who read poetry on rainy days, who danced with me barefoot in the kitchen, who whispered promises into my hair like spells. I ended it before it could turn into something good, because a heart, once truly broken, learns to protect itself with silence. It builds walls, not just against pain, but against the possibility of anything new. Years rolled on, slow and heavy like distant thunder. I got older, My hair turned silver, and my hands, well, they started to shake a little. To fill the endless hours, I took a part-time job at the library. The soft, rhythmic sound of turning pages became the soundtrack of my days. I learned to cook for one, to celebrate holidays alone, to talk to pictures like they could talk back. It was a quiet existence, filled with routine and the ghost of what was. Then, last week, something unexpected happened. It snowed. For the first time in years, I stood by the window, watching the flakes fall, so soft and patient, covering the empty street in a blanket of white. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Not pain, not sadness, but an ache, a deep, resonant ache that was purely memory. I walked to the closet, opened the door, and there it was, the dark blue coat, waiting, just like it always had. I took it from the hanger, brushed off the invisible dust of years, and put it on. It hung heavy on my shoulders, but in a way that felt familiar, comforting, warm, in a way nothing else had been in so long. I stepped outside into the snow. The cold bit at my cheeks, but the air smelled clean, crisp. The world was silent, except for the soft crunch of my boots on the fresh snow. I walked down the street, past the park where we used to take Sunday strolls, past the diner that still had the same old neon sign, past everything that had changed, and yet, somehow, stayed exactly the same. I kept walking until I reached the lake at the edge of town, the one we used to sit beside on summer nights, back when we were young and stupid, and truly believed forever was a promise that could never break. The water was frozen now, a vast shimmering mirror of ice, and in its surface, I saw my reflection, layered with his ghost, standing right beside me. I whispered his name into the wind, and for a fleeting second, it felt like he whispered back. Or maybe it was just the echo of my own breath, mixing with the gentle whisper of the wind. My mind drifted back to the night he left. The way his hands shook when he grabbed his keys, the way he didn't look back. For so long, I thought he left because he stopped loving me. But maybe, just maybe, he left because he didn't know how to stay. Maybe love for him was something fragile, something he could hold only until it started to hurt. I'll never know the truth. And maybe, in a way, that's what hurts the most. The unanswered questions, the unresolved feelings. I sat by that frozen lake for a long, long time, watching the snow fall over the icy water. And in that stillness, something shifted within me. I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't waiting anymore. The coat was heavy, yes, but it wasn't suffocating. It felt like a warm blanket of everything we had been and everything I had survived. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to forget him, the years I'd spent afraid to remember, and I saw how both had been ways of holding on, ways of keeping him, or the memory of him, central to my life. And then a new thought dawned on me. Maybe healing isn't about letting go. Maybe it's about learning to live with the weight of what remains, finding a way to carry it without breaking under it, learning to integrate the past rather than trying to erase it. I stood up, brushing the snow from my knees, and looked at the coat one last time. The missing button, the worn cuffs, that tiny tear on the sleeve. And I smiled, because it was imperfect, just like us, just like life. As I walked back home, the lights from the houses glowed warm against the deepening twilight. I passed a couple holding hands, laughing under an umbrella, and for once, I didn't look away. I just kept walking, letting the snow fall gently on my face, feeling alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. A quiet, resilient kind of aliveness. Inside the house, the air was still. I hung the coat on the same hook by the door, but this time, I didn't close the closet. I left it open, so its familiar scent could drift through the room, a gentle reminder. I made myself a cup of tea, sat by the window, and watched the snow settle over the streetlights, turning everything soft and quiet, blurring the harsh edges of reality. I realized then that he had never really left. Not completely, because love, even when broken, leaves traces. Fingerprints on the heart, echoes in empty rooms, warmth in old coats. The ache that used to crush me had softened into something else entirely. Not joy, not sorrow, but gratitude. Gratitude for having loved, for having felt so deeply, for still being here to tell the story. The clock ticked softly, the tea steamed, the snow fell outside my window, and for the first time in 17 years, I whispered goodnight, not to a memory, but to a man who once was, and to the woman who finally learned how to live without waiting. And in that silence, that gentle, endless silence, I understood that sometimes love doesn't die. It just changes shape. It becomes a coat in a closet, waiting for the day you're strong enough to wear it again. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. If this resonated with you in any way, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more stories and reflections. Your support truly means the world. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.